Commander Stahl, hailing frequencies are open.
Red alert.
You're watching Harrisfilm Friends of Love and Honor interview.
Because it was obvious you couldn't do this kind of script with amateurs that had no acting experience. Yes.
An acting student,
Yes.
and it's not an amateurish. It's an acting student. It's very different.
Yes.
It's often confused, this thing, but it's not the same. That's great. That's great.
Jack
That's great.
and Valter.
Hello. Thank you very much for inviting us.
Welcome. I've been following Jack's exploits here for a couple of years now. Jack, why don't you give everybody an idea of how we met and what it is that your project's all about?
Well, I think we met in, you're pretty much in every Star Trek fan film group. So probably I posted there something and you wrote me, I think. Mm-hmm. That was at least a couple of years ago, probably more.
So you came up with the idea of this particular story about 3 or 4 years ago?
4 years ago.
Okay. And what made you decide to go with the Discovery era instead of, let's say, Enterprise or TOS or even later?
Well, if it was up to me, I would probably have went with after DS9, after Voyager. But the thing is that the people we were working in the very beginning, we were supposed to work, we actually never worked with them, but the idea was that it was a group of cosplayers who had already the Discovery uniforms. So they said, okay, we have those uniforms, so we go with that time frame. And I wrote a story around it.
You have to go with what you can get. I've noticed in America, it's easier to get the Voyager or after kind of a costume than anything else. And I was trying to get TOS uniforms for years, and I was just hitting my head up against a brick wall. And then Kozermart started making them. And I'm like, okay, but I want the red one without the stripes on it. Nope, can't do that. Okay, fine. Sell me one and I'll put my own stripes on it.
You basically have to take them off and put your own on. Yeah, actually, when I presented the story, I think I actually wrote it. This is set in this era of Star Trek, but could be set anywhere. Actually, even outside Star Trek. It's a story about these people on this spaceship, sure, but it doesn't really have to be in that setting. Of course, I took advantage of some ideas that setting gave me, like the Klingons, but it could be set anywhere, basically, and anywhere.
And see, that's one of the principles of screenwriting for Star Trek that Gene Roddenberry had in the original user manual or whatever the writer's book, the writer's manual for Star Trek.
In fact, there are like during the writer's strike in the Next Generation, they took some old scripts and adapted to them to their show, but they were scripts from either the original series or Phase 2.
Yes, so for Next Generation. Yes, that's correct. Yeah, one of them was the one where Troy had a baby.
That's exactly.
Yeah.
And by the way, they did it on Phase 2, the New Voyages, James Cowley's fanfic.
Yes, they also adapted that script closer to the actual original story. Yes.
It was very funny how they worked around a Deltan character with her. I don't know if you remember.
They got past the rules before the rules were written.
No, they basically just all the time they never comment on that. But she's Deltan, she has her, and then you say her quarters, and she have like these weeks. There's like 3 weeks in their quarters. Say, oh, that's why.
So, what's your story about that? Without giving too much away of a spoiler alert.
That's difficult to not to give too much things away. Well, I can say that it's this is right in the beginning. Basically, it's cadet ship. A teaching ship. Like it's an old ship.
A cadet ship. Okay.
Yeah, cadet ship. and during normal routine teaching cruise, a captain, actually a former captain, which is now in retirement, takes command with some secret orders.
Ooh.
And that's where the story basically begins. Also, I think I can say that one of the cadets is actually his son.
Wow.
We have basically two sets of characters. One are the older officers, so the captain, the first officer, and the communication officer, and then three others, which are cadets, who are friends. And so this is the basic dynamics. Then I can tell you much more than this without giving many spoilers. I'll say just that there are Klingons involved at one point.
Okay.
And they shouldn't be there.
Actually, the Klingons should. We shouldn't.
Actually, they should.
Oh no. So let's take a look at the first trailer you did about 2 years ago.
Red alert. Shields at maximum. It disappears. Comes back again. By order of Starfleet, at 0200 time, I am assuming command of the ship. We need your skills for a mission of the utmost importance and secrecy. Commander Fisher will take the role of my first officer. Starfleet Command is paranoid. The Klingons have been fighting among each other for years.
Captain, we must withdraw. We're completely outgunned. But Captain, we have no choice.
There is always a choice.
Valter, was it difficult to work with the writer and the actors?
Oh no, absolutely. It was all very handy. Well, the first teaser that was released 2 years ago wasn't done by me. I wasn't involved on that project by that time.
Okay.
So I got involved later, and it's absolutely wasn't difficult with Jack. It was very easy to find a common ground between what was going to be easy to be done and what was completely out of the question, with the intention of being it easy to shoot. Not many locations, very claustrophobic, a lot of simple dialogues, not many outdoor scenes. So with a single location, with a single set, we could do the first half of the movie in a very easy way, except for the space scene, the starbase, starships scene, which were done completely in CGI, but an extremely resourceful and great CGI director who is German, I think. Yes, he's German.
Yeah, sure.
Yes, Jorge, which done a terrific job. But there's the CGI shots from the exterior, for the starship.
Oh, sure.
All the space scenes, but on the interior, What we shot, it's CGI free, not because we are against CGI. Myself, I'm very pro CGI, and I think it extremely. I don't like the whole argument practical versus visual. It's just that when you have no budget, CGI is not going to look good.
Yeah, it just depends on how you cut it together, and if you
It's just
composited
pretending.
things properly. Right.
Yeah, it's pretending like we can do it, but we try anyway. That's not what we were looking for. We wanted to be more honest with what we didn't have and what we had.
So these shots in the pilot or whatever, the first trailer, looked like you were on a Constitution class ship. Was that composited in somehow?
Well, basically, at the time we had this other filmmaker, and he decided to use green screen, of course. And then, of course, we needed a bridge. And there is, I think it's called Stage 9.
Right, Stage 9 studio type software.
A recreation of the TNG, most of TNG sets in the Unreal Engine. Thing is that if you go to the holodeck there, you have the TOS bridge. So we actually use that
in the holodeck, yeah.
Yeah.
NCC 1701, no bloody A, B, or C, as Scotty said. So he walks right in. That's funny that they put that in the game.
Yeah, you can actually choose the bridge. You can take that bridge. You can take, the season 1 bridge, which is different. You can go with the Generations one, which again is different. And I think there is even the yesterday's Enterprise one.
Wow.
There are several you can choose there.
Enterprise C.
No.
Cool.
Of course, the Enterprise D bridge that they use there with only one chair, very dark, and different consoles.
Wow.
Yeah.
I haven't been in that room. I played with that game once, and it was interesting. What I got to see of it was very, very immersive.
Totally.
It felt like you were there. So, so did you actually build a partial bridge set then?
More or less. We wanted to pretty much. The idea was to have a very minimalistic approach to the scenes. We actually tried to avoid production design in most of sets and wanted to make the set. I don't know the English word for it, but apparent, like obvious. Yes, you can see that it's shot in a set, but it's done in a way. It's done on purpose.
So an artistic version, and you've got you frame things a certain way so that it's obvious that it's a set in one way of looking at it, but in another, it's not obvious because you're engulfed in the story, right? You're engaged in the story.
The point was to focus on the story. All of the rest is pretty much non-important. So there's a part of the bridge that it's been, you can say, built. We've put together some old audio mixer, light mixers, portable live direction, live video broadcast consoles. We put them all together and decided to fake it into the bridge. Because I wanted the actors to actually work on something, and that helped them a lot. Even if there's an audio mixer, it's absolutely not. But that helped them a lot, and that was very fun. That was very fun to do.
Well, that's the one thing I'm having trouble with is, in my situation, I'm not allowed to go out much. I'm ill all the time. And the best thing I can do is connect with people like you on StreamYard or Facebook and direct them on a green screen. I can feed them their lines. They do the green screen thing. And then when I get their raw footage, I send it to the CGI guy, and he matches the interior set with that angle. And then the compositor will go in and fix the composite shot so that it actually looks like we're on the set. So it's the best we can do. Whereas I would have preferred to do it your way with a physical set. And
Well,
there are physical sets that you can actually visit in the United States and film on, but it's just not practical for us. And we're different places. I have a guy in Florida, another one in eastern Alabama, and one's in St. Louis, Missouri, another one's in Texas. So I mean, they're all over the
Right.
place, in Georgia, and I can't get them together like you can. And I guess you filmed in Turin,
Yes.
Yes.
or
Turin.
okay, Turin, Italy. See, and as you have taken a historical site and converted it into the 23rd century.
Yeah.
That's quite a feat.
Yeah. The building is actually, I think it's historical.
Yeah, the building is very old. You can't not really see it because the studio is built to be completely enclosed. And well, what you said about earlier is that when you actually have somebody who knows about CGI, is a VFX artist, at that point you can do it. It makes sense. On my hand, I knew VFX artists. I work sometimes with VFX studios, but they gotta be paid.
Right. And
On
very
our
expensive.
end,
Yes.
yes. So that's because I wanted to make it clear that I have a huge respect for VFX artists and VFX studios. It's not the same old argument that we wanted to go practical, because that's not that. It's just that
I understood what you meant, and I appreciate that you pointed that out, because some people hear half of the conversation and that makes them angry, and then they stop listening. So pay attention, people. We're all artists, and we're supporting each other. These people are in Italy, we're in the United States, and we're friends. They are doing a story in the Discovery era, and I do TOS Phase 2 era. Okay, we get along. Jack,
but our story has little to do as little to
Very
do with
little. Very
Discovery.
little.
yeah.
I mean, I'm not. I'm
You can
really
make a
not.
story fit, your story. I loved your script, by the way, and I won't
Thank
give
you.
anything away. But Jack and I worked together on the script a couple of years ago, and as we were talking to Jefferson Kelly about it earlier today, I said, "Look, I don't want your. I am impressed with your story, okay, but you also have a potential problem with the English translation. I was afraid that people would make fun of your accents, or that the translation wouldn't quite be right. And people would say, what is he talking about? And why is he talking about the wall and the floor? This is a ship. It's called the bulkhead and the deck, or naval terminology that needs to be used on a ship. So that was one of the first things we worked on, was making sure all that was right. And then we went to the Technobabble and consulted each other on that, and what it was in Italian and English. And once that was straightened out, we got to the nitty gritty of the actual story. And I'll tell you what, this story could happen in any of the Star Trek eras. It could happen, technically it could happen in the 21st century, just on a regular ship instead of a spaceship.
Totally.
Or it could be a mission to Mars, for example.
And it's watchable by non-Star Trek fan also.
Yeah, that
exactly.
was something I really wanted. Yeah.
That was the thing that really impressed me, Jack, is that you can take this story and put it in almost any setting, and it's going to be watchable. So, Walter, what's the most positive experience you can think of about this particular project?
It's been a privilege knowing Jack, and we've worked together in a very strong and interesting way. We never really had contrast. If we had different ideas, we always had them not in a conflicting way. So that was really interesting. And in general, I loved the freedom of it. I gotta be honest. It's when we shot this first half, and it was a time. I mean, it is a time where a lot of stuff that I do outside of work, outside of my video making world, I have some personal projects, and it's very, very rare that they get shot or edited, and they end up being in the way that I imagine them to be. Maybe they look good, they end up looking good, but I always say, yeah, it looks good, but that's not what I wanted to do. That's okay, but I wanted to do another thing. With this one, I remember the first day of shooting, we shot all of the bridge scene in one day. We started at 10 a.m. and we finished at, I think, 7 p.m. But I was there already at 6 a.m. and went away from the studio. I left the studio of like 10 p.m. Like I lived that day in the set, handling the production design, trying out the lights, and dismounting my own chair. This is the captain chair. This is the captain chair. I dismounted it, and after I finished shooting, I told myself, wow, I really did whatever I wanted to do. And that is exactly what I wanted. I really gave it all and said, okay, this is turning out to be the way I wanted to. It doesn't matter if it's sometimes exaggerated. It doesn't matter if some shots are not perfect. It doesn't matter if some things didn't turn out exactly. I tried it all, and that was very liberating, because I really was happy about the end result.
What about you, Jack? What's the best thing about this experience?
Well, filming it was totally magic, even if, of course, it was very long. I mean, it was a few days, and we were there all day. And of course, I loved meeting Valter and the actors and the whole team. It was really great. And then seeing it, I mean, when we tried with the teaser trailer a couple of years ago, and after that, the war started and everything, so we didn't have the money to actually do the movie. Then it was, I think, just after New Year's Eve in January 2023, and Walter sent me a message. I know how to film this. When I actually saw for the first time the footage, I was really, really impressed. He sent actually me a battle scene, and that was incredible. I mean, because I know how it's been filmed, and then I see it, and it's really incredible.
I know that feeling, and that is one of the most exciting feelings, to see something that you've written translated from the paper onto the screen with all of the embellishments, not just your basic idea with the people talking, but the video, the special effects, the colored lights, the set, the costumes, the little details on the costumes, all of these things that have to come together and be timed perfectly, then edited perfectly, filmed, edited, acted, sound, music. And then, of course, you had the privilege of doing your own soundtrack.
Yeah.
How was that?
A great one.
Thank you. Well, first of all, as you already probably know, I'm a musician by profession. I write my own songs usually. But then again, this was my movie. I really had to do the music here. So I had to learn how to do it. And of course, it has to sound Star Trek. So I had to do it like, mostly it's done like it was for orchestra. But of course, I can't afford an orchestra. So everything has been done on this very computer. And so it's all digital, basically. And with writing a score, you have to sync everything up. Also, I've always had a few melodies in my head since like 30 years that are my own melodies, but I thought about them as if they were Star Trek songs, like the da 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 da. That's always like my Star Trek song. I said that this is the theme in the movie. Basically, it took me like 3 months to find a way to actually do it and find and do it, record everything.
So which software were you using for the electronic part of recording?
I use Logic for all my projects as a software from Harrisfilm, and then I used a lot from BBC Symphony Orchestra. They have a Spitfire. Spitfire is called. It's a free orchestra software.
Oh, okay.
And, yeah, and then I have Contact. I used, I think, some libraries from Contact, and I think more or less that's it.
And
I'd like to add something to this, if I can.
Okay.
When we shot it, and when I edited the movie, I used and had already in mind reference music.
Okay.
And at first, I thought I was going to do it. I was doing it wrong. When I handed the preview with the reference music to Jack, I said, I did it wrong because I followed the reference music that I used maybe too much, and I said he's going to have a lot of problems doing a score if what we shot and what I edited is related too much on the reference music. So I thought I did it wrong. When Jack sent me the preview of the music, it was even better than I anticipated. And that's the work of a musician, because I had a reference and I said it's so perfect with the reference, and then the musician comes and do something that it's even more perfect than the reference. And so that's amazing, because I found the meaning and the pacing of a few scenes much more fitting just when only when Jack released its music, and I didn't even know that.
But it was in his mind, and he fed you that idea subconsciously.
Yeah, and that was brilliant. That was very beautiful to do, because I thought I was making a mistake. I thought I made a mistake. He really made it all work together with the music in a fantastic way, and in a way I didn't anticipate.
If I may add something about kind of scoring, something, a lot of Star Trek music is incidental and has to be done very quickly. Of course, I love all the classic movies score, but what really impressed me when I saw it in the theater was the Michael Giacchino's music for the first one. Because if you listen to it very closely, it's written very differently from how most film music is done. In the way that the music doesn't go lower when someone speaks, but leaves space for the words. It's like every character speaking is actually an instrument of the music. This is only on the first Abrams movies. The second one and third one, much less than this. And that's something I always admired and wanted to try to explore. I did this in one of the scenes. It's really, really, really hard, really time confusing, but I think the result is really worth it. I couldn't do it for all the movie because otherwise I would still be writing.
Yeah.
The rest is more in a traditional way. But for the movie, I'm very proud of that scene because I think I managed to do that basically.
I noticed also that in this first trailer we saw the ship. What is the name of the ship? USS Tucker the Third.
Yes.
And it seemed to have had the engine seemed to have an influence from the J.J. Abrams era type ship.
Okay. I found a model was called Saratoga online, which I liked. I sent it to our to Jorg, our CGI director, and he modified it to basically the original model at the nacelles below. It was kind of inspired from the Miranda class, the Reliant, with the nacelle below and the bar above. So you remove the bar and switch the nacelles around, so it's around ship basically. And the nacelles look a bit like the Abrams movies. Also, I think the size, if you really, really look in the tail, it's really huge, which is
Yeah.
oh well.
Well, I think that once you see the film, I think everybody who is going to see this, everyone has their own opinion, but in my opinion, you have taken the best elements of J.J. Abrams, TOS, and Discovery, at least, with some other influences, and made the best combination possible for your story. Visually, it's very impactful. The story itself is full of character development. Now, in your story, it's all connected and it's almost completely linear. There are some flashbacks, but they are poignant flashbacks. They are not just put in there. You start with a flashback.
Yeah.
That is my kind of filmmaking. Now, I hope I didn't give it away, but to me,
No, totally.
you know, if you start out the film with a flashback and then you go forward, that is linear time. That's the way I like to see my stories.
You know,
I never thought of that. I didn't realize this, and I directed it. That is brilliant. Yes, if it starts with a flashback, it becomes linear.
Exactly.
That's genius, right? I never thought of that.
We had some good talks about these story ideas, and I just wish I could have been more involved physically and actually been in Italy to help you there. But I am very happy with what I've seen so far. So here's the new trailer. That's the preview for part 1 of Love and Honor.
Space, the final frontier. This is the story of a new voyage, a new crew, a new adventure, to boldly go there where no one has gone before.
Jack, tell me a little bit about the new trailer. It seems like it has some different people involved than you did a couple of years ago.
Yes, well, basically, we had 2 of the actors who moved on other things, so they dropped out. And Valter, of course, has this acting school he's been working with, so he could find 2 actors. What I really think is really nice, well, apart from the fact that they're very good, is that now we have like 3 girls, 3 boys, basically. So it's kind of equal, because all the movie, the characters are 6 characters. And of course, I wrote it, I mean, you can cast pretty much anybody, any sex, any race, anything, for almost every character, basically. So that was
one character changed gender.
Yes, the commander. Okay. Yeah, the commander of in the trailer is a man. Now she's a woman. The hardest part was to find a new name, which I actually already forgot again.
Yeah, because we never use it in the
it's in the script.
Yeah,
hey, when it says Joe right here, that's you, okay?
yeah, because it's still Fisher. It's still Fisher.
Yeah.
The name is Fisher.
Commander Fisher.
Yeah, we tried to find a name, and then we realized, oh, but it's never named. There is in the ending title. She's called Eva now.
Well, see, I have trouble getting actresses, partially because of the thing we were talking to Jefferson about, where it's still a stigma to be a science fiction nerd. Okay, so it's doubly so for women. But we're all amateurs. We don't have people that we can pay. So I ask for volunteers, and then I have to give them screen tests, and then we have to decide, is this person going to actually fit this bill, or am I just hiring somebody because they're a woman? So you know, and that's a difficult situation. Did you have that type of a problem at all?
In the very beginning, I held, it was before Walter came in, I held auditions, and after a couple, I said, okay, we really need to find someone who can act, because
Yeah.
it was obvious you couldn't do this kind of script with amateurs that had no acting experience.
Yes.
So most
And-
of our actors actually, I mean, all of them have previous experiences.
Yeah, and you know, there is a difference between an acting student and an amateurish actor.
Yes.
An acting student,
Yes.
and it's not an amateurish. It's an acting student. It's very different.
Yes.
It's
I agree.
often confused, this thing, but it's not the same.
Well, you know, the thing is, you need to try to get the best fit possible for the character that you need. And in the other cases where you have people who are volunteering and they're available, you can always use them as extras, you know, in the background if you have enough costumes.
Yes.
And that way everybody's happy. So,
Yeah.
but I'm in the situation where I have to film everybody remotely. You know, they have to have their own green screen. They have to have their own costume. I'll send them an insignia to wear, or a hat or something like that, maybe a prop. And then the rest of it, they have to buy their own, you know, it's their stuff. So I have to deal with, okay, are you going to have the right costume or not? Okay, sorry, then you know, and it went to a point where I actually created a costume based on the J.J. Abrams short sleeve uniform. So I took the J.J. Abrams uniform, made an insignia that would fit over the one that they have, and then I put rank braids up here, like on the green wrap. So, hello, you know, adapt. Did you have any negative things that you just couldn't avoid, like it happened? So did that shut you down?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, actually, I wrote this right after they opened up a bit. But the thing is, one of our actors actually got it pretty badly. So we also had to wait for him to recover a bit. So
Wow.
And even I don't think you can actually see it, but knowing him in person, you could see that he had much less energy than before, because he was still recovering. It took him, I think, almost a year to. I don't even sure if he's 100% okay now from that point. Actually, I hope so.
That's sad. I'm sorry to hear that.
Like, he's a very energetic guy, and at the time he had trouble actually going upstairs, basically, when we filmed.
So you're going to have a preview at a cinema, a local cinema, coming up soon. What's the date of that?
The 22, is it?
The 22nd, yes.
22nd of June in 2024. Yes. And that's in Turin, Italy, right?
Yes.
Nearby.
And we are going to release it online on the 27th.
27th of June on YouTube in Italian, part 1 in Italian with English subtitles.
With English subtitles, yes.
Good deal. And you're still looking for some female actresses for voiceovers in English?
Yes.
Okay.
Because we're working on the English version. So.
Okay,
yes,
so the best way to contact you for that is the website.
Yeah, the website, or they can write me. Well, we're really looking forward to the screening, I think, and to the release at the moment.
I am too. I wish I could be there in person.
Yeah.
And I'm curious about the Italian reception and the international reception when we release it online. I want to see the difference and what's more impactful.
Yes. Also, of course, we
hoping that there's an impact.
Yeah. Now we film the first half of the movie, and we really want to do the second half. Where a lot
How much is left to film? About 25%?
I think it's more or less half.
Oh, good.
Yes.
Yeah.
Okay.
So the final movie will be around 1 hour long, I think, more or less.
Okay. Excellent.
Yeah, and we'd like to actually build more of the set this time, if it's possible. We'll see.
Yeah. Do you have an actual space that will accommodate that, or is it one of those things you'll have to build and take down?
Probably.
Yeah.
Yeah, because the whole point, ideally, we have to see how the crowdfunding project evolves. But the whole point is to actually remake the first half with the proper production design and make it all one coherent thing. But it depends what the crowdfunding project, how the crowdfunding project evolves.
Thank you for
We're getting to the States.
Yes. Well, as they say in the theater, break a leg, guys. I expect good things from this
Thank you.
project, and
Thank
I'm
you.
very happy that you let me participate.
Thank you.
Thank you for the invitation.
And my cat says goodbye.
And goodbye to the cat.
Thank you for being
Yeah.
here. I'm sorry I took so long. It's one of
No,
those
it
days.
was really great.
No, it didn't took so long. It was entertaining. It's just
Good.
that to us, it's 7 p.m.
Just talking to Harry Harris. Yeah. You've been watching Harrisfilm Friends. We hope you've enjoyed getting to know our friends as much as we have. Come back another time where we introduce you to some other people that we know who are usually working on Star Trek fan films, but sometimes other projects. You'll meet some interesting people here. We'll see you soon.
Hailing frequencies are closed. Transmission complete.